One of the shows last night, they're talking on, it was one of the experts, I think they call it the experts on ESPNU, and they're talking about how many teams are going to be unbeaten going into the bowl seasons. They're all saying like 5 or 6 teams. It's like, guys, do you watch college football? These are their experts? When are there going to be 5 or 6? You look at Alabama's schedule, and Alabama's probably the best team in the country. Every game that they play the rest of the season, their opponent will be off a bye week. So there's a good chance that if they're just, that's a big edge, especially late in the season, that could get them upset someplace. Ohio State's got games on the road. Oregon certainly can lose a game someplace. I mean, it's tough to go unbeaten.
And I like Nevada's chances, although I'm not crazy about their defense. I didn't like the way they looked against UNLV. It's not a top 20 defense. It's a top 20 quarterback, but not a top 20 defense. But Oregon knows what they got to do. They know their offensive game plan. But I think Alabama, there's not a team in college football who's got their identity down
their defense,
like Alabama
their
does.
Their defense, like you said before, their defense is just nasty.
And then you have Saban as the coach, and Saban, he doesn't let his players have letdowns.
Right.
He knows how to coach these kids.
They knew exactly what Florida was running on certain plays. That jump pass, they knew it. They knew that Florida was going to throw that jump pass before Florida knew they were going to throw that jump pass.
When the Pittsburgh Steelers won Super Bowls a few years ago, they're like the Pittsburgh Steelers of the college football level, because what I like about them is they know exactly what they're. It's like when John Wooden used to have his team practice, he would even look at the other team. They wouldn't look at game film. They just said, we're going to get better at what we do, and if they can stop us, so be it. And that's what Bama does. They know their identity.
That's what the best teams in all sports do.
Well, I know, but you know what I mean. It's almost that solid of a practice. They just know what they have to do.
There's no doubt about it now. Well, Les Miles. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. I had the list upside down for a second. I've never seen.
I'm not gonna take exception to that, but I will say this: many times we give a lot of credit to a coach for being the best or the genius or whatever, but it has to do with who he has on the field. Oh, sure. Okay, and we put somebody like Saban in New Mexico, he's going to have issues for a long time until he gets, and he's going to always have issues recruiting people. So, you go to pro basketball, when you have Michael Jordan and then you move to L.A. and you have Kobe Bryant, yeah, you're a great coach, but you had great players, exceptional players.
A big part of that is the ability to go get those players. I think if Nick Saban were to go to
it has to do with the location that you're at. You're not going to get those players at Akron.
No.
You're not going to get them in New Mexico. So these guys that may be very good coaches that are at these other schools start out with their feet in quicksand.
Urban Meyer turned Alabama back into what they are. They were not a great program.
I'm not arguing. He's a great coach, best coach in the country. Yeah. I have an argument with. I'm not saying anybody's better, but it all goes together. The players, the school, the location, the history.
Les Miles lost a couple of coordinators, and look what's happened.
That
decision they made at the goal line last week was asinine.
Horrible.
Did you see when he changed his players out?
A bad coach can ruin a program.
Absolutely. Tennessee got absolutely screwed.
Right.
Because they're allowed to substitute. That's the protocol. Right. Is they're allowed to substitute once LSU did.
Right.
And the officials never let him and called him for the 13 guys in the field. That was awful officiating. How do these officials not know the rules?
There's problems. They do a great job, but they're going to make mistakes.
You know what? I don't have a problem with making mistakes. I have a real problem with not knowing what the rules are. You got to know what the rules are.
And how about Chad Henne on Monday night? Did you guys see the game?
Yeah.
He's it's like he's peaked and that's it. He's at a flat spot. Yeah. This guy, he's not getting any better. 2 weeks in a row, he's looked like crap.
Terrible decisions he's making.
He's looked terrible 2 weeks in a row.
Not as bad as the decisions by the special teams coach.
No.
He's gone.
He's gone, right.
His decisions now are worse.
I don't know that.
Are a little bit easier to make.
That was one of the. How does that happen in the NFL? You can see that in a college.
3 huge special teams.
I can't believe how bad they were on special teams. It killed them.
What I like though is the last couple of days now, everybody's talking about New England's back, the Patriots are back. I'm like,
oh god.
It was a special team, 3 special teams blunders that changed that game. Not to mention a Chad Henne pass, an interception inside the 20 when they had a chance to go up double digits.
And now you don't have Randy Moss. I don't think they're back anymore.
Yeah. But then, you know what?
They're not back.
It's not like they were out of it this year. They're probably not the best team out there this year. In fact, they're definitely not. They got holes in a lot of places. So rather than hold on to Moss and go for a pipe dream this season, they moved him. They got a draft pick. They got rid of an unhappy guy, and they'll move on. And
Why would you move a guy that got 0 catches on Monday? No, I'm kidding. But, you know, the whole thing was, though, in that game, if Chad Henne doesn't throw that horrible pass inside the 20, they go up. I think it would have been 14-3 Miami in midway through the second quarter. Totally different ball game. They were doing whatever they wanted. They were running because Miami gets behind by a couple of points, 10 points or more. All of a sudden, they have to completely change their game plan, and they're not a comeback
If Henne
team.
has to drop back and pass too
They're
much,
done.
he's going to make mistakes. There's no question. They got to run the ball. They got to use that two-back system, control the ball, move it.
And Belichick does a good job of covering that wild card ever since the first time he saw it.
Well,
You know,
now
the first time he saw it
go
was
back.
rough. and
Let's go back to what Rex Ryan's been telling us, even in the preseason, that they are the team going to the Super Bowl. It certainly looks like they
That's
are.
exactly
They,
what he told us. He dropped a couple of F-bombs in there also.
There's a team in Baltimore that might have a say about that.
Yeah.
they're not playing that
Pittsburgh's
well
not too
offensively.
bad either.
How about the Steelers?
Steelers.
There's a
I'll
team
give-
that's 3-1 without a quarterback, and now they get them back.
But their confidence level is going to be really high now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've seen that before, where teams play well without their starter. The starter comes back, and all of a sudden, now they come back
Well,
down to a
they
different.
they could slump. But
This guy-
psychologically,
this
yeah,
guy
that's
we
possible.
know is, I mean, whether you opinions of him as an individual may have changed by some people, but I don't think anybody doubts that this guy he's a money quarterback on top of that.
Clutch.
And Roethlisberger's a
Well,
really
he's got two
good
Super
player.
Bowl rings.
Yep.
I mean, you can't take that away from him.